Welcome to Fantastic Vision. Please subscribe us before you watch today's video. ASML released a 2 nanometers old floor chip, which is actually 22 nanometers. Is the 2 nanometers chip process a technological advancement or a sophisticated farce? Recently, a Dutch company ASML announced shocking internal news in the industry, saying that the 2 nanometers process is actually the 22 nanometers process. This news caused a sensation, and it is puzzling. Are the chip process names used by companies such as TSMC and Samsung also intended to fool China? A sentence from ASML in the Netherlands caused a sensation in the entire chip industry. You may think that data such as 2 nanometers and 7 nanometers are amazing, but in fact, they have nothing to do with the actual physical size. ASML clearly stated that the 2 nanometers process is actually the 22 nanometers process. What is the concept? In other words, China's so-called small revolution is actually just a replacement for old technology. Looking at the history of the development of chip process names, from 14 nanometers to 10 nanometers, and then to today's 7 nanometers, 5 nanometers, and 6 nanometers, the 2 nanometers process is actually a 22 nanometers process. What is this concept? In other words, China's so-called small revolution is actually just a replacement for old technology. Looking at the history of the development of chip process names, from 14 nanometers to 10 nanometers, and then to today's 7 nanometers, 5 nanometers, and 6 nanometers, the 2 nanometers process is actually a 22 nanometers process. For a long time, the essence of this value is not the physical size, but the difference between the new process and the old process. In short, those data are more like market tricks than technological progress. Similarly, there is Moore's law. What is Moore's law? In short, the number of transistors on an IC will double every 2 years, and the performance will also improve. However, with the development of technology, this law has gradually been eliminated. At present, as the size of semiconductor devices continues to approach its own physical limitations, its size will continue to decrease. However, wise chip manufacturers do not want people to think that technological development has stopped. They cleverly named the chip process, so that the overall performance of the chip can still double within 2 years. This is like applying a new coat of paint on Moore's law, and it still looks good. When talking about semiconductor processes, extreme ultraviolet lithography is unavoidable. Extreme ultraviolet lithography uses a 13.5 nanometers light source. In principle, this technology can only manufacture chips above 13.5 nanometers. So why are 7 nanometers and 5 nanometers processors available? It's because the process name has magic. Thanks to the use of multilayer lithography and other advanced processes, manufacturers have made such chips have characteristics that can be called 5 nanometers or 7 nanometers. But don't be fooled by this appearance. The above data only shows its performance improvement, not the real reduction. In fact, it is difficult for existing processing technology to break through its own physical limits. At present, although China's ultra-high wavelength lithography process has matured, there are still some bottlenecks and problems. To achieve substantial breakthroughs, it still needs in-depth research and exploration. Speaking of which, China's semiconductor industry is also a big problem. In recent years, China's semiconductor industry has developed rapidly, and many manufacturers have achieved a certain position in the low-end field. However, in terms of high-end chips, China still has a long way to go. When major manufacturers around the world are making their own brands, local manufacturers must not only follow the trend, but also seek a real technological breakthrough. For example, other people's kids are playing in the Olympics, but China is still only solving quadratic equations. It's not hopeless, but it still needs further exploration and innovation. To gain a foothold in this competitive land, local manufacturers must continue to improve their technology. So, what is the mystery of chip naming for these Chinese users? First, don't be confused by those flashy data. If you see words like 7 nanometers or 5 nanometers, you may want to know more about its true meaning. Don't be fooled by manufacturers' advertisements. It's similar to buying clothes. Don't just stare at the high-quality fabric trademark, but also feel its texture and craftsmanship. Secondly, China must have enough patience and confidence in its domestic chip industry and believe in its domestic chip industry. Although China still has a long way to go in high-end integrated circuits, China still has a long way to go. China firmly believes that in the future, domestic manufacturers will achieve substantial technological breakthroughs, so that China can independently develop a high-performance chip with independent intellectual property rights. In general, the misunderstanding of the name of the chip process is indeed confusing, but it also makes China know that the development of technology is not just external, but internal. Local chip manufacturers need to make breakthroughs in technology, and at the same time, the majority of consumers should open their eyes and not be blinded by data. In the future, China will work together to make the development of technology benefit everyone.